Yeah. But hey, welcome guys. Welcome to Highly Motivated. It's pretty awesome to have you. Chris and I have been talking lots about you guys over the last couple episodes. We've been excited to be able to bring you guys on as guests. I know you guys have a very exciting story to tell, and you guys are pretty big movers and shakers. You might not want to admit it, but in my eyes, you guys are pretty big movers and shakers in the Manitoba legal cannabis scene, whether indirectly or directly itself. And I think you guys have got some pretty awesome stories to share. So,
and willing to road trip to come talk to us. I mean, that's the whole thing. The
Right.
extra step was there. When
Yeah.
efforts put in.
That's it.
To make us feel special.
That's it. That was like a 3-hour trip, give or take. So thank you
After
guys.
taco night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I appreciate you guys making the trip. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. All of us in the room. It's great. I love this. This is fun for me and to share. We don't get bigger venues very often to share that story and have that conversation with other people from the industry, and it's fun when we get the chance.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
I mean, this is one of the things where we wanted to start this anyways, was for meeting guys like you and both of you individually for your own reasons. But it's just like, it was like there's a lot of fun personality here, a lot of people that are like very motivated to want to be pushing things, finding new ways to be involved in this industry and expand past like that first step. And both of you have been on that mark since the day I met you, and it was just like, yeah, these are the type of people that would be fun to talk to.
And then you get us both at once.
Yeah. Double dipping.
Yeah.
We're all about efficiency.
We're all about talking over each other, so it's perfect.
Yeah. Allowing you to do that.
We finish each other's sentences.
Yeah. Sandwiches.
Sandwiches. Yeah.
But like that's, I mean, realistically, you both kind of started the bromance early on.
Do we have to call it that?
I mean,
Is that
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's
I
documented
like that
online
stricken from the
already.
record.
Yeah. I think it's too late for that.
Yeah, I think so
We're
too.
way too far into this.
It is the record.
Yeah, it's the record.
But it is that beauty of like-minded people, and when you add like-mindedness not only into your work life and your partnerships, your friendships, and then all of that kind of melds together. And we're all younger guys who have our own businesses, and we have a lot of energy, and we have excitement, and we have like that ability to do that. And
You're highly motivated.
Well done.
I
Well done.
Is that like a game? Is this like a meow thing?
don't know. I think we're making it.
Yeah.
Today's how we figure all this out.
Right.
Anything past that.
No, it's exciting. Before we get too far in, because man, it's not too often that I work in my basement away from the majority of mankind. So it's not too often that I get to talk to people in the flesh about something that I am so passionate about and that I love. So this is really exciting for me. But before we get too far in, Tim, a little bit about you. Who are you? Where are you from? How are you involved?
Tim Dirksen, born and raised in Winnipeg. Lived there my whole life. I grew up in an entrepreneurial home, and so my family had a business, and so business is kind of what I know. We owned a business previous. We sold it. I grew up in that environment with the entrepreneurial thing where you just keep working because it never stops and you could just work forever. I'm sure you know what that feels like. And so that's just my mindset. And then I'll tell more about it another time, but I got an opportunity to be in the cannabis space, and I was looking for my next thing to do, the next business venture for me. I was kind of doing a few things here and there, but not feeling excited about anything. And that's a hard place to be when you want to be excited. And so I had an opportunity to get into the cannabis business, and through that I met Jesse, and through that we'll get into the story of how this all came to be and how our partnership started and where it's at.
Romance.
I'm not calling it that.
The summer of patios. We can call it that.
Summer of
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Just ask Leo's how much we spent building this partnership.
Yeah. There was an investment. It's great.
That's awesome. That's exciting. We are going to dive into that. Jesse, it's not the first time we've had a conversation. You've been on multiple of my shows now. You did both my podcasts. Now you may as well do the third one, man.
Yeah.
Let's
I
do
was
it.
sitting on that side of the coach last time. It's very different.
Little
You have to
different.
get like a 5-timers jacket, like it's SNL or something like that.
Yeah.
We started carrying up enough repeats.
It's like a golf jacket.
Yeah, we'll have
Yeah,
to
I
look
like
into
that.
this.
Yeah, I like that. Jesse, man, Toba Grown. Who are you, man? Where are you from? What are you doing in the industry?
So I'm Jesse Lavoy. Grew up in St. Andrews, Manitoba, just outside of Winnipeg. Right out of high school, joined the army, was a prison guard, then did a complete switch, became business development oriented in the cannabis space, multiple different jobs. Then I was like, you know what, I'm bored, let's sue the government. And that started a whole direction, which led to me meeting you. In this room, I met you first. I came out here, I remember nervous as heck because I saw your YouTube following and I'm shaking and I come in here, it's like a spaceship in here.
Was it at the
All these lights.
Ledge?
Well,
No,
The legislature?
before that. No,
Was it
that was
before
the
that?
second time. The ledge was the
That-
second time.
because
that's
that's
what
what
brought me
he brought you,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
when I met you the
Okay.
first time. And then I saw the pictures of your dispensary with everyone dressed up in suits, and I'm like, gotta go there.
See, timelines is the problem with working in this industry. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of it is like, yeah, that's gone.
But it's history. It's past between us now because, yeah, you've been on both my podcasts. I went to legislature in support of you suing the government for the right. For those that don't know,
That was the
invented-
original meet for that too.
That was.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
that was the first time, right?
Meeting you, yes.
Well, not the meet, but like the Toba having it at the ledge. That was it.
Oh, the first meet like of
Yeah, like
people.
group meeting.
Yes, yeah.
I think so.
It was.
Yeah.
Because during COVID, the flag went around. And that's
Right.
Everyone signed the flag, and but besides that, meeting people in big groups is kind of extremely frowned upon during that time.
Right.
Not recommended.
Not recommended. Yeah. Boy, how we look back on that. But no, that was it was the we met here. You came here. We were even recorded a little video,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then I signed the flag.
What's the news? I think that.
Yeah. Vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we met. Were you at the legislature?
I have been not at that
No,
one.
no.
Not at that
that
one because
was-
I know we met at the brewery.
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah,
was
we
the
met at the
first time
brewery.
we met.
Yeah.
And the brewery was another gathering in support of the anniversary,
The second anniversary.
second anniversary of Toba Grown.
But that one involved beer, so it was.
Those-
Yeah, there was a bit of beer.
Had a couple beers.
Yeah, I had a bit of beer.
But that's the thing from going like dealing with being in the sales portion of it, and then to like getting bored and let's sue the government. It's
There's
just
more to it than that.
Well, yeah, obviously.
No, that's what you said.
That's what you said. That's
That's on
what I'm
record.
taking you at your word. That's what it is. The internet says it now.
There's at least 6 cameras on you. It's true.
Yeah. There's enough
Yeah.
iPhones.
On this edit, I'm going through all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, individual reactions. Who looks like they have stocks in
All
something
6
they should have.
cameras.
Yeah. But like that, like just dealing with the involvement. Like, I mean, I know with my shop, I had the idea like this would be a fun dispensary. We were nowhere close to that at the time, and it was more just like an option because I still wanted to get into business regardless. But I had an adaptation of what I was doing, and that's such a pivot of like dealing with something within the space. I mean, it's opened up so many possibilities and everything too, which is obviously an incredible positive, and it's become a little bit of like, especially here in Manitoba, it's like a beacon of the community, which is something that is great to have anyways, right? Like that, those are few and in between that you're able to like create these opportunities where people have this need to want to like rally behind something, and it's fun that the government gave us the opportunity to rally behind it too, right? Like that's the other thing. It's just opportunity makes it a lot easier, but it's something that, you know, like how long have you been big braining us on this? Like it's, you know, it's just it's what a switch going from the sales into getting into this or to wanting to get into that. Was that something that you just really wanted to take that on yourself, or did you like?
It was definitely a personal thing because most of my work was either done in the States or in Europe for cannabis. So the Manitoba cannabis industry, I didn't really know anyone here would be when I started the challenge.
Virtually
So, like,
non-existent, right? Like
Exactly. Like when Tim and I met, it was me hounding their info at Natural Earth. That's how we met. We connected on email, and then I came down there and talked to you about the not-for-profit pre-roll. But
Yeah, you bugged me a couple times. I didn't get back to you.
So
then I took it personally.
looking for a social donation
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, all right.
And then I walked into his office, and actually it was all painted black, every wall, the ceiling, and felt at home.
My Chemical Romance is playing in the background.
I mean, that's a
Steel
possibility.
But
I hate black. What are you talking about?
your outfit says otherwise.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
that's funny. So just to backtrack a little bit,
Yeah.
just so everybody knows, first episode where we have guests and having you, Toba Grown. What is the concept behind it, and how did you meet up with Tim?
Oh, that's
two things.
That's a huge one. So
Yeah.
obviously,
Do the Toba thing.
so,
We'll
well,
go.
the what you have set up in your room there with
My garden.
you have two plants going right now.
Yep.
That was the initial motivation for Toba Grown, was to have that for Manitobans, just like every other Canadian. So that fueled
Recreational.
that fueled the due diligence. And then when I looked into the rulings and reasonings and what they can actually do to you, it's not just that $2,500 fine. There's an avenue. They can take your house. They can put you in jail for 2 years. They can seize all of your equipment, your car if it transported gear to grow cannabis. It's just this whole spider web of things they can do to you if you grow 4 plants or less. So that became a bully mentality that I wanted to squash. And then how Tim and I met, Toba Grown was launching an not-for-profit pre-roll to go to local charities and our legal bills. And Tim, where he was initially the company he was with at the time, they grew cannabis in Manitoba and wanted to work with Toba Grown to put that into a variety pack of pre-rolls of all the local growers. And then Tim and I just fell in love.
See, I knew it went together.
Yeah.
I knew it went together so
I'm
well.
so
We've never told this story how we met. That's why I sat in the middle of
Yeah, thank you.
this.
I appreciate
We gotta
that.
put this on the
It's
internet.
like how did the parents meet?
You're keeping me safe is what you're doing.
Yeah. Being
Just
handsy.
the way he looked at me, and
I just knew.
I just knew.
Yeah. That's pretty much how I felt every time I grabbed drinks with these two.
So how did you get involved?
So yeah, it started with him reaching out. I was involved with a micro cultivation facility in Winnipeg. He reached out to me a couple of times, as we touched on earlier, and I ignored him twice. I'm thankful for his persistence. And
He is persistent.
yeah, oh yeah, he's
It's one of his best qualities.
relentless and persistent. Yes, and it's great. It's actually it's a compliment.
It is a compliment.
No, it is.
It's not, he's
It's
an
a-
asshole and he smells like shit. Like I didn't say
Yeah,
that.
It's a hustle, man. It's a hustle.
Yeah, but like all these things can be true. Like,
I showered today.
I work hard and I'm an asshole. Both of those things exist.
So he had this idea to sort of bring together the local legal cannabis cultivators and growers. So we had just bonded on chatting about some of that stuff. It was exciting. It's new ideas, and this industry is never short on new and exciting things. Like that there's probably been 6 that happened since we sat down here. And so it's fun when you meet someone with that kind of energy and that kind of innovative idea and something unique and a perspective and the drive to actually see it through and get it done. And so I think we bonded on some of that. And then out of that was birthed this, we should start a processing business and do packaging. And we've got all these companies in Manitoba that are growing weed, and someone should package it or process it or do help with sort of the final stages of what happens after you harvest it.
Well,
And so
that's something from the retail side of things. It was lacking like crazy, and the access that you guys in driving that part of the market has changed this provincial's
the landscape,
It's changed the landscape.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, because it's just the quality at rate as well too has just changed things. It makes things totally different as a retailer. It's changing the standard a lot of companies have to work across. And anytime you're in a position where you're forcing everybody else to correct to deal with that, I mean, it's going to feel exciting as shit. You know, like as a small business owner, being able to play things at a little bit of a bigger level is always like the dream. And then getting to know you guys and what, you know, getting a little bit of the insight as the build up has gone on. And it's just like, it's exciting to be able to like get to the point where you're at the companies you guys are working out with the syndicate is just like, you know, that's exciting. That's got to be kind of a dream situation that's continuing to evolve. Like it's just, what it started as versus where you guys are sitting now, catalog-wise, is insane.
Yeah, and it's not showing signs of slowing.
No.
But I think like one of the things, and to talk a little bit of detail, is that and you're a retailer, you own a retail store, so maybe you're better to speak about it. But retail stores order it through the liquor and lotteries, Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries. Liquor and Lotteries takes their money on day one. So the second you place that PO, that transaction is going through. And they pay us on terms after we deliver it, but we don't even have to talk about that part. But what happens is their money's out of their bank account day one. Mm-hmm. And the sooner they can get that product, they can start turning that cash flow. And there was and is a major issue with product sourcing and arrival times of deliveries and shipments in Manitoba. Like sometimes you're sitting on orders, retailers are sitting on orders for weeks at a time without getting them. Yeah. And I can't imagine how frustrating it is looking at your bank account going like, I've got $50,000 tied up in stuff that it's been 3 weeks and I haven't seen it. Like that would be frustrating.
Totally.
If I was in your chair, yeah, that would frustrate the shit out of me.
Yeah. Well, you got customers that want to buy this.
And so part of one of the things that gave us, I don't want to say an advantage, but that was like the right thing for us to do, was help feel that pain with them of like, this is a problem. We're going to try and fix this for you. And I think that's one of the big things we've done is because we brought processing, we brought out of province companies as well into Manitoba being processed here and fulfilled and delivered and everything through us. It's now you place an order and within days it's at your door and you're turning that product into money again. And like, I think for me, it's insane to think of a business that's COD at that level. Like you pay, it's not even COD, it's day one, dude. Cash on purchase order. Like, it's a weird situation.
Cash on clicking.
Yeah, it's very unique to me. I come from a business past and I've never heard of that in my life. And so it was an opportunity for us to create a solution to a problem that we heard over and over and over.
And so how did you address it? What'd you guys do?
Well, what we did was we brought all the local brands under one roof, and it's Keith Cannabis was the building we chose to use. In the legislature, there's micro cultivators who are allowed 600 kilos a year on their license. With a full LP, there's no limit. So we decided to use Keith Cannabis's building. We're turning that into a joint venture that is going to be called Toba Rolling as an entirety. Mm-hmm. And everyone brought their cannabis under that roof. So if you're in Manitoba, other provinces, you send us everything bulk on a pallet. We turn it into finished packaged goods. Hand deliver,
pallets of weed.
As of last week, we had 970 kilos in the vault. That's like just cannabis across 21 different brands.
That's a weird thing to say out loud.
Serious question. Yes. Do you bathe in
it?
Or swim like
Scrooge?
I need to know.
Staff nap area where
this is off the record. No nudity.
We can edit this out. Scrooge McDuck, I think, is the method you want to reference. Do you Scrooge McDuck in there?
Yeah, do you Scrooge McDuck in there?
It's naked. Definitely
a thought.
Oh, creative ideas have come through the mind.
Well, boy, do I got an idea for you.
Individual rooms per strain, and then you have like a grater at the bottom for the key.
We're sifting it.
And then it's a natural sift method, right? You get celebrities to bathe in it.
Penis hash.
Penis hash,
Burn it.
Yeah, exactly.
Margot Robbie.
Exactly. Yeah. That adds the value. We're selling NFTs. Why are we doing that?
Right.
Yeah.
if you told me for $100 I could swim in a bathtub or a pool of weed, yeah.
What kind of weed would you pick?
Oh man, I never thought about this. You know, it needs to be. I need to come out of here smelling like an armpit.
Okay.
So it's gotta be.
Something
I gotta
gassy.
be greasy. Yeah, it's gotta be nasty.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. People are gonna be like, think I'm like repugnant. It's like, what is that? That would be me. Yeah. So something gassy. I got this Dreadnought OG. It's pretty gassy.
Not too skunky.
Not too skunk. Yeah. Well, you know, I do like a good skunk. It's not often you're driving down the freeway, right, or the highway, and you smell it like it's either really good weed or a skunk.
Or somebody hit something.
I got a buddy who loves just the nastiest strains, like turp profiles and stuff.
Just
Just
me, man.
like if he had one that smelled like an old hockey bag that had been farted in, like he'd be like, "This is the best. I love this." Like
Old
he
hockey
just,
bag.
He just loves that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm right up there too. That footy, armpity kind of like diesely. Yeah, that's right. Like yeah, I don't mind the sweets and the sweeter touches, but generally speaking, it's I want that gas, I want that funk. Yeah.
I'm not a flavor chaser, like with anything in particular. It's just effectiveness. I've got stuff to do, so it's like, how long am I? There's some companies, right? Like we have some things that are like the half-gram pre-roll. It's my gauge is like, do me and my wife, if we share a half-gram pre-roll, and I'm like pretty high right now, then I'm like, okay, this is the good stuff. And then if we smoke it, and it's like, so. You want another one, or do you want to dab? Then I'm like, okay.
Not good enough.
Yeah, this is cheap stuff.
Yeah.
What's the gauge?
Being a home grower, it's like if I have to like it, or it's like I'll have a pound of shit.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of like I got a couple grams here, and I
think
can
we
cycle
should get
through.
your stuff tested.
I would be down. I'd be
I
totally
think that'd
down.
be fun.
Yeah, but I'm just like I have to like it. If I don't like it, I call it prop weed because I'll just use it for videos, skits, or whatever. Blue Dream. That was one that I like really hyped up when I was like, I really want to try this. No, it's like one of the most mellowest,
That's like
just
basic.
tamest. There's nothing there. Yeah, I didn't like it at all, and I had ounces of that stuff because I grew it, and it was like, what do I do with it? It's not even good looking bud because Blue Dream's like a leafier, looser bud, so it wasn't even
airy.
good.
It's like an airy.
Yeah.
So
What
it
else?
it doesn't get dense.
It's no
It doesn't-
Instagram weed.
Yeah, no.
Damn it.
Yeah.
It doesn't go in the highlight reel. That's for
No,
sure.
no.
What are you growing now?
I've got Dead Ops OG. No, yeah, Dead Ops OG by Zaza Genetics. Yeah, it's a subscriber of mine, a content creator himself. Yeah. A local one that I want to try is K-Mitts by Cypress.
Cypress Craft.
Yeah.
And like, here's the ignorance because like, that's them.
At the end, right?
Yeah. That's
Dude,
part of
working with them. Yeah, that's
we
right.
love working
Because
with
Cypress is a part of the syndicate, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and huge fan of them. I actually wear their hat everywhere.
They're great. I like those dudes.
Great,
And they
kids.
make a good hat. That's a good hat.
They make
love
it good
that.
at.
I like that hat. Yeah.
Mhm.
The gray and the black.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's quality. It's
Just
great.
good
Great
hat.
work hat too, because you can get it dirty, and then I can still wear it out too. It's yeah, and their Caymans looks really, really good, and I see it everywhere, and I want to get my hands on that one. Yeah. You guys are working with how many? So the idea was that everybody is everybody that sends product part of the syndicate?
Well, go ahead, Jess.
No, you go back.
Well, it's so.
How's it?
Sorry,
It started.
Sandwiches.
It started as this syndicate of locals, and it's now morphed into something so much bigger than I think we expected. Like maybe,
Right, if you're
maybe
saying
you
from
didn't,
other
but
provinces, you said.
yeah, we've got from
21 now.
we got 21 brands under the Toba rolling banner.
This guy's at the plant the whole time.
I know he
You
is.
know?
And we've got stuff. We've got
69
from
is-
yeah, we've got all the way
69,
from
really,
BC
69.
to Quebec, is where products coming in from,
That's
including Manitoba. And so, it's been unbelievable, the response and the market response. And I mean, store owners have been happy, and I hope they continue to be. And it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, anybody focused on wanting to bring good stuff to their guests and really are focused on building out a quality menu should be like shouting at the rooftops happy about this kind of stuff. Like it totally changes the way we can do business, and that's the thing that's so exciting is like we're making all of this up. Every time we like really interact with government people, you realize that like they're making it up too.
Everyone
They
is.
don't know any
Yeah.
more than the rest of us, and they're just like, if you put up, ask a question and give a half decent plan, they are very willing to give things a shot. And so that's what's really exciting. Is like we can fix the problems that were laid for us really quickly and find adjustments and opportunities. Which is
Well, and that's the fun thing about being in such a young industry.
right.
Like,
Right.
it's just a baby, and like it's changing and it's growing and it's doing different things and trying stuff, and everybody, like you said, everybody's just doesn't know what, nobody really knows what they're doing.
No. We're all making it up. I mean, like,
This is the 5th year of legalization,
yeah.
right? We were 2018. It was October of 2018. So this is 2.5 years. No, for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
See how I did there? I do that to my wife all the
Yeah.
time. I slip that in there.
But 4.5 years is nothing.
That's nothing. So immature. When you think of like, we're still trying to iron out alcohol, like liquor laws. And,
Yeah.
As we're
tobacco
proposing
laws.
changes here in the province that would allow alcohol sales in grocery stores
Right.
and private retail
Right.
spaces.
Right.
Right?
It probably should be.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it?
I mean, at my shop, if we have the opportunity to do alcohol sales, like I'm doing it.
Why wouldn't you?
If I could have like keep what I've got going, boutique style, do like
And have
some
drinks on-
wine and some
Sure.
whiskey, maybe
Yeah.
do local beers and stuff, right?
In my town, I can go to the pharmacy where I go to get my
and buy
drugs.
booze.
And buy
Yeah,
booze.
the
So why
exemptions
can't-
to our rules, right?
Yeah.
Well, because you live in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Well, but it's funny that they'll change the rule
Trying to get a truck.
when it better suits them and the community
right.
it's in.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Rather than just a big blanket statement to everyone that you can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's certain things about this industry too. Like I felt walking into it, you basically had to really learn weed. A lot of your, legacy education means not a lot. It means you can understand the culture to a degree and you understand the product to a degree. But everything, the structure in which we operate under, the things that like actually matter now under this legal system and the logistics sides of it, and everything else, like it is a new learning lesson every day. And because of like we're talking about like how fast things change and what company owns who, with all these big guys switching around and everything like that, like there's so much change in that. And so like when you're like a little guy in a neighborhood, you're just cool. you guys enjoy that.
But the thing is, like, we're the little guy in the neighborhood.
Right. Like that's the same
and
thing
if
for you guys too.
You scale that to what end?
Yeah.
We're all Manitoba is the little guy in a big neighborhood, even
It's such
as a cannabis community, just by size,
Yep.
and by volume, and by geographics,
and we outpace Tim Hortons.
yeah, right.
And Manitoba's a force to be reckoned with too. It's not that we're to be, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not
Passed over.
underestimated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looked over. Yeah. Because
And we often are.
yeah, of course.
As a province, we're a fly. I always say flyover.
This is the
And in other
necessity
industries
of the
I've been
city.
in, it's the same thing. Manitoba, they just don't. Whatever. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, nobody really cares.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Ontario, Quebec, BC, and that's like Alberta, and there's all that other stuff.
Yeah, stuff is-
A lot of that though too is the systems. Like there's a lot of positives about our system here, but because our government doesn't do the purchasing like Ontario does, and
Yeah.
such, and like that's where processors love dealing with Ontario. They just buy a whole bunch at once and contracts, and everything's very kind of straightforward if you can make them happy. And not having that here, I think, is what's hindered. But that's where it's created the opportunity for what you guys do in the first place,
Yeah,
right? Like,
that's where our opportunity came in.
yeah,
for sure.
right. Like they're leaving that whole. It gives us a lot of security in terms of how we operate. The diversity in our retail sector, I think, is going to be unmatched across the country if we keep this open mixed model as well too. Cannabis is a lifestyle product, and I think that we also have to deal with better public education and stuff too. So access to these things, we're talking about increasing it in alcohol here in this province, and the restrictions we have with like a window covering and stuff, and things like how we handle public awareness things is just so poor.
The window
It's so
coverings are
poor.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and like it's a safety thing. Like that's Alberta. They let them pull it out because the cops are like, yeah, we're not just gonna blind go into a building.
Yeah,
You know, it's like,
yeah.
yeah, and it's like Yeah, right. Exactly. You're not, and
Yeah.
like these are high value items and everything. So not addressing that is just insane. It's just that's one of the things that I'm actually surprised a few years in I am to having a store that's still around. I thought we would have addressed that. Other things have been addressed. I'm like, how's this thing not changed?
Yeah, that's ridiculous to me.
Yeah. I don't know.
Due time, though, you said we iron
Yeah.
these things out,
Right,
right?
and
We're still early.
Legislative change, because it's laws and big books, guidelines,
Which does not
and,
move fast.
and that just
No.
never happens quickly.
No.
You know, it takes time for it to shift.
And I actually had this conversation on one of my live shows one time. Oklahoma recently voted no to recreational cannabis. And to me, I was like, how? Like, what is on that bill? It must be so bad. And I there wasn't any, like, I couldn't find any. I looked through the bill myself. Aside from the tax, they were 15% as a baseline. But I thought, well, you're talking to a Canadian. I'll hold my beer at 15%.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, in my opinion, let's legalize it and then start itching away or scratching away at those ridiculous taxes
And creating
or
structure.
at those ridiculous regulations. Get it out.
Yeah.
Man. Legalize and then build on the legalization or start to whatever this is
We
away.
went a little backwards here in this
Situate.
province, so they let big money deal with it off the hop really here, and then we kind of opened it up to
But
more
that's
small
but
business.
that's the problem in my opinion is as a
well, they get all the opportunity for giant revenues. Off
they're
the
gonna
top.
have money, but they don't know shit about growing weed. And if you look at like the Canadian industry in general, 2018, the only one that really 2018, the people that got the most amount of or any permits to grow it was based on lottery system. Money had the talks.
Yeah.
Your investors didn't know anything about weed. They didn't know that it was going to take you 4+ months to grow this plant. Holy Christ!
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do in the
So
4
these
months?
big companies
It's
are not
6
making any
months.
money.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God! This takes as a process. You can't do this overnight.
Agriculture. Who
Yeah.
said that? Nobody told me this. Yeah.
What?
It's a plant.
I thought you smoked it.
Yeah.
What's going on? So, now, in my opinion, it's taken 4.5, almost 5 years for them to piss away their money,
Yeah.
and for the small guy to be like, "This is how I'm gonna do it," and etch. That's the word. I etch away at the system until it shows that no, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't know that this is a 6-month process versus the guy that doesn't have that much money,
Yeah.
that can build a brand at the same time. That's important, and you're seeing that. And now you're seeing companies like Cypress Craft. There's so many. When I went to the brewery there to meet all the folks of all the local farmers that really believe in their product, that aren't just like, let's just cut corners. It's profit over everything else. That's not if it was profit over everything else, they would have already, they'd be bigger than they are and crumbling, but they're not. They're when I did the walkthrough on Cypress Craft, their product was immaculate. Their facility was pristine. Their process was figured out. Like these are I was gonna say kids. These are guys that know how to grow this plant, and then are figuring out the business side of it as they go. No, I want to give them the respect. They know what they're doing, but it's happening. So now these guys are the ones that are kind of being anointed to a point of position where they can contend because it's product over.
Yeah, there's a lot of shift
Yeah.
happening in the cultivation side of this marketing. I mean, you look at what was it last month? Canopy, which is one of the big beasts, shut down a facility in Ontario that was employing 800 people, I think.
That was that not the Smith Falls?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Smith
that's
Falls.
The
Yeah,
Hershey
that was like
number one
The
Palestinian-
facility,
Yeah.
the one that get all the news coverage. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
not anymore. Well,
Yeah.
You got
it's
anything
coverage
that news
now, but
coverage.
not the good kind.
Right.
I did a video on them. I said like how you go from being the biggest weed company in the world to losing money out the teeth, smuggling weed across the border. This is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into too much dirt.
Well, and we're starting to get closer also in cannabis. Like, Jesse and I focus so much of our efforts just Manitoba. Like, we can carve out a pocket for ourselves in Manitoba that will create a very successful business and a very healthy, like a good lifestyle for us. And nobody's greedy. I'm not looking to be a Canopy. I got no interest in that. But like, I want to feed my family. He wants to feed his family. We want to feed our employees' families. And we
Selling
wanna-
drugs is fun.
And we want to sell weed.
Yeah.
Provide the people
And we
with
want to
good weed.
sell weed that we love to people we love selling it to.
That's it.
And like, it's just such a beautiful picture. But like cannabis is starting to get more global, like in a bigger way all the time. You're seeing one of our clients, Pistol in Paris, sent a shipment of cannabis to Jamaica.
Right.
The first one to ever go there.
Sweet.
So you're going to start to see cultivators finding different markets in different areas of the world, which I think is really cool. And like,
Amazing.
but then you hear about like Oklahoma said no. It's like what do you do? What are
Yeah.
we doing here?
Yeah.
Like
There, and I tried to speak out to some of them in regards to why. And some people in my chat were like, "Yeah, we did vote no," and I'm like,
really?
yeah. And I was kind of taking these are my people, so it's like I was
don't
kind
you
of
just want the tax
but-
revenue at the basis.
Well,
the thing's
my-
happening anyways.
my
right?
number one was like, okay, so forget about the $1 billion industry that you're probably just shuffling aside. Forget about that. What about all the people that could really, really use this weed, that don't have access to medical, that could really use recreational? Like, let's face it, if we had a solid recreational program, I wouldn't jump through hoops to get a freaking medical card.
Yeah.
I would just rely on good weed from the dispensary, but I can't. Because of the ease to access. It is so much easier to just order it offline, ship it to my house at a reasonable price. Rather than, anyways, it's not. It's easier to grow your own. But anyway,
It's more fun.
No.
I love growing.
it's an amazing thing that brings me peace and harmony.
See, this is one of the
Zen.
things where, like, I think in this province, because of the way we are with mixed-use facilities and such, what is it, farm gating? Like, I think an opportunity for something like that, where you have a small thing run under, it doesn't even have to be a certain brand's banner or something. It's more about, it's the education. It's like there's that restaurant downtown, the Pump House. It's in the old pump station,
Yeah.
right? And you're like sitting eating among all the old pumps and equipment
It's
and
beautiful
stuff.
in there, actually. It's really
It's
nice.
a great place. It's such a beautiful restaurant. But I'm like, that opportunity for us to be able to show more of a connection with the plant, people get to see it. It becomes like, as a business opportunity, those are little drops that people get to watch develop, and then those pre-rolls sell it very quickly. So, like on the business side of things. But I just think that it also adds to, like, we have such a disconnect in our food industries and such of like where these things are coming from. So there's methods, and we have the systems in place that allow us to kind of like do little niches. It's just like with the microbrew industry, like especially here in Winnipeg, like that is a strong industry that supports a lot of different businesses.
And they do really well.
Right, and I just think about if adding different type of mix of retail units and such too would give certain micro cultivators and stuff more of a highlight to be able to do things, or like even having something like where it's an art space where you get a certain grower working on a crop so many times a year throughout that space, and so they get to be highlighted by one of the local growers and stuff. There's certain things that would be nice to add that connection.
And I think a lot of it comes down to like, it's always like openness and creative ideas versus regulatory bodies and what's allowed and what's not.
Oh, that's
And they choke each other, and it's unfortunate, and it's a young industry, and so I can't shit all over it. We're doing well. The whole industry overall is good, and the consumer is happy, and the store owner in general is happy, and the people and the other love what we do, we're happy. Like, it's okay. But it's there's a lot of like creatives involved in the cannabis industry. I think cannabis and creativity have probably gone hand in hand for thousands of years, but I think you get these creatives with unique ideas and interesting ideas, and all these pockets of young entrepreneurs and people who do it because they're passionate, or they're passionate about this or that get choked out with their creativity because the regulatory side of it won't allow the follow through or the flow through of those like beautiful ideas. Like, if you had no regulatory bodies whatsoever to deal with, what could you do with your store and your vision and the way you operate?
I mean, all these things that I keep talking about.
Yeah.
Like, it
so,
would make
like,
these avenues much easier, and then how you can deal with your guests. I mean, that's the thing too, is at the end of the day, we're all just selling weed, so you have to do things to differentiate yourself. That has to happen. But when we're growing, the quality of the products themselves and the retail experience, and if we're all doing and selling the same thing, and if you're not, as the regulatory body, going to cap licenses on a retail level, right? Then what else can we do besides fight for ourselves and create individual experiences, and that means like, you know, here in Manitoba we're looking at repealing some of the taxes on retailers, right? So like that goes through, that gives us more money that we can operate with and do something. There's a big thing here where this is so new, and we're at like so lucky to be at the right age, just like bringing alcohol back in the States or something, right? Where we're around to play the game here and
This
get
is
to
our
participate.
industry to change.
Right. Like it's just lucky to be at the age where I had a business and could pivot into this industry as it grew in a legal space, right?
Try to imagine us being around when they struck oil.
Right.
Yeah.
Figured out
Yeah.
oil, you know what I mean? Like the Beverly Hillbillies, you know, where they
The Jack
Something-
Daniels of
yeah.
brands and all that other stuff will mark their space in this, but it's in the alcohol industry and any like real consumables. Like we're special, but we're not that special. Like we're gonna have those legacy brands that are gonna hard hold for a lot of time, and lots of different things are going to continue to evolve, and there's going to be lots of different opportunities, and we're going to continue to chase the money. Advertising and such, the having Hockey Night in Canada brought to you by, and then not having that
by
opportunity.
Toba Grown.
Yeah, like right, like
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's not that far away.
I don't think so. I mean,
especially as like consumption sites. Look at all the conversation around that. The more we get these things out there and normalize it, I think it's just going to make it easier and easier.
how fun would it be if I could go to your store and order a whiskey and a pre-roll and sit there and enjoy it?
Right, and like
Now, you're talking consumption, so I'm actually just I get so excited when you talk about that because I really want to do that. I'm like, I want to go sit at Chris's store and have a whiskey. Like that
Yeah.
sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already have the bar experience. It'd be nice to like push that
To actually
idea.
have it.
Restaurant at the end of my building just left. I could like just move down the strip mall. Wouldn't even be that bad.
Yeah, I would wait.
Yeah, like
But they talk about it and they want to do these things, and so it is positive and it's a good thing. And I've talked to some of the people at MBLL, and you know they gave us tasting rooms for breweries and for distilleries. So I think their vision would be, we can do this with cannabis, but how do we do it in a regulatory sense?
Right.
yeah. What the problem is that to me it's an overthought thing. We give samples in our LCs here. Right?
Yeah.
There's no concern for the fact that the person that just drove there to buy alcohol, and you're like, would you like a free shot, sir?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they
Or
can
multiple. They could have different.
multiple.
I've
They
had
have more.
3 shots.
Yeah.
I've had in a sitting when I go into the liquor store, trying different bamboo.
Yeah.
Trying
Oh, that
little
stuff is
wing.
the fucking
It was
best.
great.
Oh my
Put on
god.
rocks. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is
I
delicious.
just really enjoy it.
You say by Lil Wayne?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Little
Bubbles
Wayne's
by Little
company.
Wayne's.
Oh,
Really?
And it's the
I haven't
best.
tried
It's the
it.
I
best
only
rum
ever
I've ever had.
tried it because
Huh.
of him, and like I tried it, sampled, and started like, this is really good. He's like, try the one without sugar cane or with. I was
Yeah.
like, I like them both.
Yeah.
I was like,
This is so good.
yeah. I was like, can I try this one again? He's like, yeah. I was like, I'll grab that one.
But that's the thing, like
Oh,
there's
so good.
that one's a very obvious problem. With a problem that we are very aware of with drinking and driving and such. And like nobody's thinking about reviewing that, right? Nobody's even considering it, and then they're just like, oh, but what are we gonna do? And I'm like, you're gonna like get a Uber station outside of the building or something, right? To make sure
Yeah.
people can get
Yeah.
home safe. Like
Another service.
yeah, these things aren't even being considered at all these other stops, and yet it's like again, these are massive parts of the industry opening up, like even restaurants being able to carry cannabis beverages, and what realistically is a positive when you're dealing with alcohol problems, right? And they're trying to get people to reduce drinking and such. You have another industry that you have heavily taxed,
Yeah.
and you're not even letting the entertainment industry or whatever you want to call it.
Have access to it.
Yeah.
Or the movie
Service
theater.
industry.
Service industry.
Yeah.
There we go. That's
Yeah.
the word I was looking
You can
for.
now get
Movie
beer.
theater.
Movie
Yeah.
theaters, right?
Yeah.
Like we have the ones that we can drink
Go to
in
like
already.
a How High or
Why
like
can't we have designated
Super
spaces?
Troopers.
I know the smoking thing's tough, because
The smoking thing is
It
tough.
is tough.
but vaping
Come on,
lounge.
it wasn't that long ago where you had a
Edibles?
smoking section, just an arm's stretch from the smoke,
Right.
from the non-smoking section,
Yeah.
and the only thing that separated it was like a curtain. You know,
Logistically, though,
We need
like
more curtains.
you need more curtains,
government's gonna make you spend vape
taller
shops
curtains.
all the money that they spend putting in like air exchange systems and stuff. So I mean that does deter businesses from doing it.
Yeah.
And the bright side is now is you can technically get away with it because there are so many fast acting products that are available, right? There are 5-minute gummies and stuff. So if you bump up the limit, right, then all of a sudden you've got different access.
Well, and I think with drinks and just cannabis in general, younger generations, like I'm 39, but like generations like the 20-year-olds now, they don't drink that much, like
No,
alcohol.
no,
They're not
right.
drinkers.
and they're not drinking.
They're consuming cannabis. They're using that as their, and probably every other drug, but like they're cannabis users.
That's what your 20s is for, isn't it?
Check
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Chris is like, yeah, 20s.
Yeah, 20s.
Yeah.
That's what your 20s
Yeah,
is
you stop,
for.
right?
Funny
In your
dude.
20s too.
I call my wife, tell her to empty the freezer.
But I think like if they're not drinking like they used to, then these venues and these businesses that make a lot of money off the sale of alcohol need to find a way to subsidize that. And I think cannabis beverages or infused dinners or infused menu items, like why not?
Yeah.
The tourism and stuff that brings, like in our city in particular, when we're not in the middle of nowhere, we've got a huge food scene, right? Like it is,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
we're kind of almost world renowned. It's the weirdest thing, but we get a lot of international attention for that. And being able to add that on top of things, and again, so much possibility for collaboration with all of these local growers, and doing just like wine tours, and going to restaurants, and there's just so
Cannabis
much
tourism.
Yeah, right. There's huge dollars in that too, right? And it's just
Well, we do have a climate that supports, most of the time, beautiful outdoor hemp production at best. So I could totally see a very thriving cannabis tourism sector
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this isn't the East or West Coast, which can be maybe a little too wet or not hot enough or what have you, long enough. Who
Yeah.
knows? But
it's not like their entire revenue streams by themselves. Anyways, I think it's just like additive things you
Yeah.
get to dip onto.
Supplements it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like half of the thing with Toba is your guys' strong social presence, for instance, and what you can bring to brands and stuff too. Like that's one of those things that I think it's very difficult to do. A lot of people really struggle with it, and that's been like a strong point. Is like there's a lot of unity there. There's some direction to where you guys build the menu, things like that. It's again, as a retailer, it makes things easy for us. But just having that kind of direction makes them great.
sweet boys.
Say, rub some Toba on it.
Rub some Toba pouch.
You say pouch. I've got a fanny pack right there that's made for holding weight. Yeah, it's smell proof. Yeah. Anyways, guys, that was a hell of an episode. If people want to get a hold of you or ask you questions, do you have somewhere where they could?
Check out where to find it.
Yeah, and we can't tell people where to get stuff, but we can tell people where to get a hold of you guys. So where can they reach you, Tim?
If you want to get to me personally, just at Tim Dirksen on Instagram. DOERKSEN.
And then at Toba Grown, you get a hold of me or the rest of the team.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you boys so much for coming. We're gonna have to have you guys back maybe for maybe an individual interview and just pick your brains a little bit in regards to what you guys are doing, because you guys are doing some big things, and it's awesome to be able to get your insight in regards to how you guys do it and what's being done.
Just to participate more if he doesn't have Tim to look at the whole time too.
Yeah,
Right.
I'd love to come
Candy.
here without him. That would be great.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. On
Thank you
behalf
for
of-
having us, man.
That was our pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Our pleasure, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate it. Well done, boys.